She was just 15, full of dreams and excitement for the future. But one ordinary morning, a short walk to work turned into a nightmare, one that ended with a brutal crime shocking an entire nation. What really happened to Paige Doherty? And why did a seemingly innocent deli visit become the last time she was ever seen alive? The truth behind this case is more chilling than anyone could have imagined. On the morning of March 19th, 2016, 15-year-old Paige Doherty, a cheerful and ambitious teenager from Clydebank, Scotland, set out for a short journey to a local hair salon where she had a part-time job. However, Paige never made it to work. Her sudden disappearance sent shockwaves through the community, leading to an intense search effort that ended in a horrifying discovery. Hey, true crime fans. I'm your host, Eamon, and I'm thrilled to share crime tales across times with you. Each episode, we'll explore a new case, examining the evidence and discussing the twists and turns. My goal is to create a community where we can discuss these cases, share our thoughts, and learn from each other. So, let's get started. Paige's mother, Pamela Monroe, grew increasingly alarmed when she couldn't contact her daughter. Paige was known for her punctuality and responsibility, making her absence deeply concerning. When Pamela called Paige's phone multiple times without an answer, she initially assumed her daughter might have been busy or that her phone battery had died. However, as the hours passed with no word, a sense of dread set in. Her concern grew when she contacted Paige's boyfriend, Dylan, who confirmed that she had not arrived at work. Knowing that Paige would never miss work without notifying someone, Pamela began reaching out to friends and family to see if anyone had seen or heard from her. Nobody had. Panic set in as Pamela retraced Paige's expected route, speaking with neighbors and checking local areas. With no sign of her daughter, she contacted the police later that day to formally report Paige as missing. The case was initially assigned to local officers, who conducted preliminary inquiries, but as more time passed, it became clear that something was terribly wrong. Police officers from the Police Scotland Major Investigation Team soon joined the search. They began by interviewing those closest to Paige, her family, friends, and co-workers, while also reviewing surveillance footage from nearby streets and businesses to track her last known movements. Flyers with Paige's picture were distributed, and social media campaigns urged the public to come forward with any information. As the search intensified, the local community rallied together, conducting searches in the surrounding areas. Despite their best efforts, there was no trace of Paige. Her sudden disappearance had all the signs of a case far more sinister than a simple case of a runaway or miscommunication. The fear and uncertainty only grew stronger until, 2 days later, the tragic truth was uncovered. On the morning of March 21st, 2016, 2 pedestrians were walking along a secluded path near a wooded area off Great Western Road, just outside Glasgow, when they noticed something unusual in the undergrowth. As they got closer, their worst fears were realized. It was the body of a young girl. Horrified, they immediately called the police. Emergency responders and forensic teams quickly arrived at the scene. Investigators noted that Paige's body appeared to have been hastily dumped, with no attempt to conceal her remains. The location was approximately 2 miles from her home in Clydebank, but forensic analysis soon confirmed that she had been killed elsewhere and later transported to this site. When investigators examined her injuries, the level of brutality was staggering. Paige had suffered over 150 stab wounds, including deep slashes to her head, neck, and arms, indicating that she had desperately tried to defend herself. The sheer ferocity of the attack suggested extreme rage or panic on the part of the killer. Crime scene specialists carefully combed the area for evidence, looking for footprints, tire tracks, or any objects that could provide clues. Despite the wooded location, there were no clear signs of a struggle, reinforcing the belief that she had been murdered elsewhere and later transported in a vehicle. As news of the discovery spread, Paige's family was notified. Her mother, Pamela Monroe, was devastated when police confirmed that the body was indeed her daughter's. What had begun as a missing persons case had now turned into a full-scale homicide investigation, and detectives knew they were dealing with an exceptionally violent crime. As news of Paige Doherty's brutal murder spread, the community was gripped by fear and speculation. Social media platforms became flooded with theories, rumors, and desperate pleas for justice. In the midst of this turmoil, a shocking and irresponsible act added further distress to an already grieving town. A 17-year-old boy, whose identity was not publicly disclosed due to legal reasons, posted a chilling message on social media claiming responsibility for Paige's murder. His post quickly went viral, triggering widespread panic and outrage. Many feared that the killer was taunting the authorities, while others worried that the police had overlooked a key suspect. The post fueled conspiracy theories, leading to increased tensions and misinformation. Detectives, already working around the clock, treated the claim with urgency. They immediately brought the teenager in for questioning, analyzing his social media activity, whereabouts, and possible connections to Paige. However, it soon became clear that the confession was nothing more than a cruel hoax. The boy had fabricated the claim, likely for attention, with no actual involvement in the crime. Despite proving his confession false, the authorities took the matter seriously. The teenager was reprimanded for obstructing an ongoing investigation and causing unnecessary distress to Paige's family and the public. However, since he had not committed a criminal offense directly related to the murder, he was not charged with a serious crime. The false confession momentarily diverted public attention, but detectives remained focused on uncovering the real perpetrator. With the murderer still at large, the urgency to track down the person responsible for Paige's horrific death intensified. The police knew they had to act quickly before the case turned cold. As the investigation continued, detectives meticulously examined hours of CCTV footage from various locations around Clydebank, hoping to piece together Paige Doherty's final movements. They tracked her route on the morning of March 19, 2016, following her last known whereabouts. A crucial lead emerged when officers reviewed footage from a small sandwich shop, Delicious Deli, located on Fleming Avenue. The footage showed Paige entering the deli around 8:21 a.m. This was significant because it confirmed she had stopped there on her way to work. However, as investigators continued watching, they noticed something deeply troubling. There was no footage of Paige ever leaving the shop. This inconsistency immediately raised suspicions. If Paige had gone in, she should have been seen exiting at some point, but the cameras captured no such movement. Instead, what detectives did find was even more alarming. Shortly after Paige entered the deli, the shop's owner, 32-year-old John Leathem, was caught on camera behaving strangely. He was seen locking the front door during business hours and later moving in and out of the shop carrying black bin bags. At one point, he was spotted placing something in the trunk of his car before driving off. His unusual behavior, combined with Paige's unexplained disappearance, made him the prime suspect. Investigators wasted no time in bringing Leathem in for questioning, while forensic teams began searching the deli for any signs of a struggle. With this key piece of evidence in hand, authorities were now one step closer to uncovering the horrifying truth behind Paige Doherty's disappearance. As detectives dug deeper into the CCTV footage, John Lethem's actions after Paige entered the deli became even more suspicious. The timeline of events painted a chilling picture of what had likely happened behind the closed doors of Delicious Deli. Shortly after Paige arrived, Leathem was seen locking the front door of the shop, an unusual move for a business open to customers. For nearly half an hour, no other customers entered, and Paige was never seen leaving. Then, Lethem's behavior took a disturbing turn. CCTV footage showed him making multiple trips to the back of the store, appearing frantic and preoccupied. He was later caught on camera thoroughly cleaning the shop, scrubbing the floors and surfaces with what appeared to be strong cleaning agents. Investigators noted that his cleanup efforts were far beyond normal hygiene routines, suggesting he was attempting to remove evidence of something horrific. Later in the footage, Leathem was seen taking several large black bin bags outside and placing them in the trunk of his car. His movements were deliberate, and he checked his surroundings multiple times, as if ensuring no one was watching. He then locked the shop and drove off. Investigators soon uncovered another damning piece of evidence. Leathem had visited a nearby store on the same day Paige went missing. Receipts confirmed that he had purchased latex gloves, bleach, and other industrial-strength cleaning supplies. This strongly indicated that he had planned a cover-up, reinforcing the belief that Paige had been killed inside the deli before her body was disposed of elsewhere. With this overwhelming evidence, authorities obtained a search warrant for Delicious Deli, determined to find traces of what had really happened inside that shop on the morning of March 19, 2016. With strong suspicions that Paige Doherty had been murdered inside Delicious Deli, forensic teams moved in to conduct a meticulous examination of the shop. Although John Leathem had made extensive efforts to clean the scene, experts knew that traces of blood and DNA could still be present in hard-to-reach areas. Using specialized forensic techniques, investigators applied luminol, a chemical that reacts with even the faintest traces of blood. Almost immediately, hidden bloodstains were revealed beneath the flooring, behind counters, and in the cracks of surfaces that had been scrubbed clean. The sheer amount of blood found suggested that Paige had suffered a prolonged and violent attack inside the deli. Further analysis confirmed that the blood belonged to Paige, irrefutably linking the crime scene to her murder. Additionally, investigators found a blood-stained knife hidden in the shop, which was later confirmed to be the weapon used in the brutal attack. Armed with this undeniable physical evidence, authorities confronted Leathem, knowing that his web of lies was unraveling, the killer's confession and motive. After days of questioning and mounting pressure, John Leathem finally broke down and confessed to the murder of Paige Doherty. However, his account of what happened was as shocking as it was questionable. According to Leathem, Paige had entered his shop that morning to ask for a part-time job. When he told her there were no available positions, he claimed that Paige became angry and allegedly threatened to accuse him of inappropriate behavior if he didn't hire her. He insisted that he panicked, believing his reputation and business would be destroyed, and in a desperate attempt to silence her, he stabbed her multiple times. However, investigators found no evidence to support Lethem's version of events. Paige had never shown any history of dishonesty or manipulative behavior. Furthermore, the ferocity of the attack, Over 150 stab wounds indicated extreme rage, not panic. If his claims were true, why had he continued stabbing her long after she was incapable of defending herself? Detectives and legal experts believed that Leatham's motive was likely far more sinister. Some speculated that he had made an inappropriate advance toward Paige, and when she rejected him or threatened to expose him, he reacted violently. Others believed it was a premeditated attack, and Paige was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. Regardless of his reasoning, Leathem had brutally ended the life of an innocent 15-year-old girl, leaving a community shattered and a family forever grieving. His confession sealed his fate, and the case moved swiftly toward prosecution. Justice served, sentencing and appeal. In October 2016, John Leathem appeared before the High Court in Glasgow, where he pleaded guilty to the brutal murder of 15-year-old Paige Doherty. The courtroom was packed with grieving family members, friends, and members of the public who had followed the case closely. Many were eager to see justice served for the innocent teenager whose life had been stolen in such a violent and senseless manner. During sentencing, the judge condemned the sheer brutality of Leathem's attack. He acknowledged that Paige had suffered an unimaginable fate, enduring over 150 stab wounds, many inflicted while she was still alive. The judge emphasized that Leatham's attempts to clean up the crime scene and dispose of Paige's body showed calculated intent to cover up his actions, not the impulsive panic he had claimed in his confession. As a result, Leathem was sentenced to life in prison, with a minimum term of 27 years before he would be eligible for parole. The decision was met with a mixture of relief and sorrow from Paige's family, who knew that nothing could ever bring her back. However, the following year, in 2017, Leathem appealed his sentence, arguing that 27 years was too harsh. To the dismay of Paige's loved ones and the wider community, the appeal was granted, and his minimum sentence was reduced to 23 years. The decision sparked widespread outrage. Many felt that the justice system had failed Paige, allowing her killer to serve a shorter sentence despite the extreme violence of his crime. Her grieving mother, Pamela Monroe, spoke out against the reduction, saying that no amount of years behind bars could ever compare to the lifetime of loss her family now faced. Despite the appeal, Leathem remained behind bars, and for Paige's family and supporters, the fight for justice did not end with his sentencing. They vowed to keep her memory alive, ensuring that her tragic story would never be forgotten. A family shattered by tragedy, Paige Doherty's brutal murder left her family in unimaginable pain. Her mother, Pamela Monroe, was thrust into a nightmare no parent should ever have to endure. In the days and weeks following Paige's death, she fought tirelessly to ensure her daughter's killer was brought to justice. Pamela became a vocal advocate for victims' rights, channeling her grief into a mission to protect other young girls from similar fates. Paige's siblings struggled to come to terms with her absence. She had been a loving sister, full of life and laughter, and her loss left a deep void in their hearts. Friends and extended family members rallied around them, offering support, but nothing could truly ease the pain of losing someone so young and full of potential. Tragically, the devastation extended beyond just emotional pain. 2 years after Paige's murder, her father passed away. Though his official cause of death was not publicly disclosed, those who knew him best believed he died from a broken heart, unable to cope with the overwhelming grief of losing his beloved daughter. His passing only deepened the sorrow that had already consumed the family. Despite their immense loss, Paige's loved ones were determined to keep her memory alive. They established a beautiful memorial garden in her honor, a peaceful space where family, friends, and members of the community could come to reflect, remember, and pay tribute to the bright young girl who had been taken too soon. The garden became a symbol of resilience, a place where her spirit could be felt and where her presence would never be forgotten. Beyond the garden, Paige's story sparked larger conversations about youth safety, predatory violence, and the justice system. Many people called for stricter sentencing in violent crime cases, believing that the legal system had been too lenient in reducing John Leathem's sentence. The case fueled debates about whether life sentences should truly mean life, particularly for crimes as horrific as Paige's murder. Pamela Monroe continued to speak out, working to raise awareness about the dangers young people can face and advocating for changes that could help prevent similar tragedies. Her unwavering strength in the face of heartbreak inspired many, turning Paige's legacy into a powerful force for change. The murder of Paige Doherty remains one of Scotland's most heartbreaking criminal cases. It is a painful reminder of the cruelty that can exist in the world, but it also highlights the strength of a family and community that refuse to let her be forgotten. While nothing can bring Paige back, the love and determination of those who knew her ensure that her story will live on. Through the memorial garden, advocacy efforts, and ongoing discussions about justice reform, Paige's name continues to inspire change. As her family and supporters keep fighting for justice and remembrance, one thing is certain: Paige Doherty's story will never be forgotten. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more shocking true crime stories from around the world. Until next time, stay safe and stay vigilant. This is Crime Tales Across Times, signing off.